Hi guys, welcome to week 7 and welcome to this video which is going to go over what's happening this week. We have entered into our unit on poetry as of last week. We let go of short stories, which was really fun. I really enjoyed listening to all the conversation about symbolism and tone and themes, and especially the curiosity of inquiry with people trying to figure out what the stories were really about on the deeper level, like Hills Like White Elephants by Hemingway, trying to figure out what the conversation is that the two characters are having. I really had fun listening to you guys talk about it and challenge one another and add to each other's ideas with something to say. So I hope we can continue that collective spirit of investigating it a little bit further with our critical thinking as we engage in poetry, which I'm noticing just from the conversations this last week, week 6, that you guys are connecting with poetry from the standpoint of songs and music and lyrics, and that's really cool. It's fun to explore poems and different poets once you start seeing how amazing and beautiful they are and how they each have a different tone. And so I'm excited to see what you have to say about the poems for this week. So for this week, we've got 2 discussions. We're not doing a crazy workload, but the discussions are packed with lots to do. So we're going to look at the first one, which is a couple different poets. We have 4 poets in this discussion. We have them listed here, and fortunately we have videos to kind of reflect these poets as well. And so there's 4 different poets here. We're starting with Maya Angelou, which many people have heard of. She is amazing. We have her poem Still I Rise. Poet number 2 is Etheridge Knight, the poem Feeling Fucked Up, which we're lucky enough to have an audio video clip of that. The third one is Tupac Shakur, which many people are familiar with his music and his lyrics, his songwriting, and not as many people are as familiar with his poetry. So we have A Rose That Grew from Concrete, and we have a couple different versions here if you're looking here. They're different in terms of the lyrical information that's presented, the words that are presented, but they're essentially the same poem. So we're kind of looking at different versions of the poem. And then the last one is Naomi Shihab Nye and her poem Kindness. So we have 4 poets here. You're going to check those poets out, listen to them speak and read their poems, and then you're going to engage on the discussion board by discussing the poems and the poetry concepts that we've already been going over from last week with our introduction to poetry. So we're looking at rhythm and tone and symbolism and some of the things that we looked at in short story, but now we're looking at them in the context of poetry. So you can really kind of pick one of the poems and hone in on that poem specifically. You can pick more than one poem and kind of compare and contrast them if you would like. Many of you did that with the short stories, and it was kind of fun to see your interpretation of the relationship between Amy Tan's story Fish Cheeks and, for instance, Jamaica Kincaid's story Girl. And so if you want to compare and contrast here when you post, that's cool too. Don't forget to read and respond to other classmates' posts, specifically at least one classmate's post. Maybe someone who hasn't had a response yet. Find someone who's posting something that you want to engage in. So again, that's really important that you remember to add that component to the discussion, which is actually responding to someone else's post, because otherwise you kind of put your ideas out there and no one says anything about them. So you want to do that. Some people are losing points for that. So remember, I'm grading based on following the prompt, the actual assignment prompt, the length of it. If it says 1 paragraph, I'm looking for that 1 paragraph. And also on your response. So if you're not responding to a classmate, then you're losing a good chunk of points. So be sure to take your time. I did make a video of this discussion if you want to know what's actually happening on the discussion. I'm going to go back to the home page and just click on the next discussion. And this discussion is just sharing poetry, so really just finding a poem that you like and sharing it. It could be from anywhere on the internet. It could be a poem that you've loved forever. It could be one that someone wrote to you. Really, this discussion is open for whatever you're interested in sharing. There's also extra credit on this discussion for those of you who are willing and able and desiring to read your poem and present an audio version of your poem. So here I have Ada Limon's Instructions on Not Giving Up, which is a poem I found recently that I just really, really love. It's beautiful. The poem is here, and then I made a video of myself reading it. So that's what's happening on this discussion. You're going to share a poem, push yourself to create an audio version of the audio file or a video file of you reading the poem if you want extra points. 10 extra points, which is the equivalent of an actual discussion if you missed any, or if you're trying to get that A or get that B or whatever, push yourself a little further. And then read and respond to a classmate's poem, engage with them, and connect with ideas. And then as a reminder, don't forget to prepare for your quiz and your journal that's due at the end of this unit on poetry. It's going to look really similar to what happened last unit with short story. So I encourage you to stay up on your journals as you're reading the poems. If you're interested in extra credit regarding the poetry reading that's happening October 24th at 11:30 in Guthrie Hall, information for that is right here. Super exciting. It's in response to the book The Beautiful North, which I kind of gave you a little bit of information on the last two announcements. Again, that is week 7 in a nutshell. I hope that kind of alleviates any stress that you might be carrying regarding what's happening this week. I'm really proud of you for your posting and super excited to hear what you have to say. If you have any questions about what's going on this week, don't forget to post your questions either through the link here on the homepage where it says questions go here, or you can also click on the discussions tab on the left and it's the first discussion. So if you need any examples of anything, or if you have questions about anything or something that might need clarity, you're going to post it right here. So have a great week 7, enjoy the poetry, and I look forward to hearing what you have to say.